a self-employed electrician, I wanted to let people know what you can make in a day. And mind you, this is all based off of one's experience. I do have 15 years of experience, and so it's based off of your knowledge, what you can do, and the kind of contacts that you have. So, not all self-employed electricians are even going to be able to make the same amount of money necessarily, because it's going to depend on different factors. But I'm going to show you what I make in a day, and mind you, and what I made just this last week for the full week. And you're talking about only about 4 days of actual work that I did out in the field. Now I do have to do other work in the office and doing bids and things like that, so more hours are put into things like that. But I think this would be kind of interesting for people, younger people or older people or whoever might be interested in becoming an electrician. And I started out at $7 an hour back when I first started as a green residential electrician, moved into commercial work eventually, and 5-year programs and learning everything, and getting licensed. So I went from $7 an hour to making a much higher level. So there is a pretty high potential, depending on what you want to do and how much effort and how much you want to put into it. Okay, so it is possible to definitely make 6 figures as a self-employed electrician. Okay, folks, we're back here, 33 Electric, and this is what I was able to make in 4 days. And mind you, some of those days I maybe only worked 4 to 5 hours, actually on the job, doing the actual labor. I maybe had to come back to my shop, spend, 30 minutes to an hour, submitting some invoices and, working on the computer and doing a little bit of office work as well. But this was $3,860 in 4 days, basically 4 days of work. Now, like I said before, this is it's gonna vary depending on the electrician, and even for me, it's gonna vary depending on the week and what type of jobs I get. So let's go over here a little bit of some of the jobs here that I did during this 4 days, so you guys can get an idea of the kind of stuff that you'll get involved with being a self-employed electrician. And all of these jobs ended up being residential. Go back here. So this job here, they were having a problem with their range intermittently going out. I believe the stovetop, they didn't have a problem with the stovetop. It would stay on, but the oven would go off sometimes. So we got there, took the plate off the back of the range here, did the test at the connector point, was getting our 240 volts here. You can see pretty close to that. Everything was fine. Voltage was steady, no issues. Tested the plug-in actually on the wall as well, no issues there. Turned the oven back on, everything was running fine. And then we went out to the garage where the electrical panel was, and I had just removed the breaker that was right here for the range, and it ended up being a 60 amp breaker right here, which is actually oversized, so I ended up having to change that out. And then I also found on the breaker itself right here, this black wire was loose in the connector screw. The termination screw was basically backed all the way out. So in my opinion, that was the problem. This wire right here was just losing contact in the breaker, and that was causing the loss of the 240, and then they're only getting half of that voltage, and that would explain why only half of the oven would work. So we got that breaker changed out. This was a QO panel as well, square D. And sometimes these are actually kind of hard to find, these breakers, because it's more of a specialty panel. But luckily ended up having one of these on the panel on the van, so didn't have to run to the hardware store. Got that all fixed up. Got everything turned back on, checked out. Everything was working fine. I never had any problems with the oven not working, so
my suggestion to the actual owners was that if they continue having problems with this, go ahead and try to change that cord out. And then if that still doesn't work, you're going to have to replace this range. There's a problem with that because I didn't find any problems with that branch circuit wiring from the panel to that plug. So there was no reason, and that's pretty much my only job. Repairing these ranges and stuff is not my job. That's, for somebody else to do. Basically, my job is to take care of that plug behind here. From there, back to the electrical panel. And, sometimes I will, if I open these up, the range up, and, those connector, that original picture I showed you, sometimes you'll open them up and they'll be burnt up, and I will go and get the cord and change those out. But, that's as far as anything I'll do as far as working on these ranges. So, and that was that job, and that one got taken care of. Probably took me about an hour, and we were wrapped up. Okay, so another job we had here, a tree fell down in the backyard, tore the whole service off of the house. So you can see it laying there, and tore that one up pretty good. So basically, we just rebuilt the service, pulled in some new wiring for that, and that one right there, I made the best money on. I mean, that one did take me about 8 hours to complete, because we ran into a couple little snags too, and it took us maybe an hour or two, a little bit extra, to finish that one up. But that was one of my most profitable jobs basically in a day, because I made over $2,000 just on that one alone. So that was another job, reconnecting power. And then what else do we have here? This one here was just reconnecting. They had a problem with the air conditioner, and basically this panel was already full with no space left in it. I think it only had maybe like a total of like 20 spaces, maybe something like that in the panel, 100 amp panel. So I had to put some tandem breakers in, make up some space, because basically you can see this red wire right here, and then this black wire right next to it. But basically those two wires were not hooked up for the air conditioner, and they weren't getting any power on the air conditioner. So we found those, and then also we found some doubled up neutral wires on the neutral bars, and we were able to repair those for them as well while we were in the panel, because we just kind of like to do that, any extra little stuff we like to go ahead and take care of so the customer doesn't have any more issues with the inspectors. And then we got out there to the disconnect for the air conditioner, and as you can see here, this is actually, well, I don't know if this was a before or after picture, but basically they had the load and the line switched around. So I ended up having to switch that around, and there's the final picture there of the new tandem breakers we got, and then the new 2-pole 30 amp breaker for the air conditioner, and got that all back on, got that all tested. And then another job we did was running a line for 220 branch circuit line for a dryer. And this one only ended up being like maybe about 20 feet. Actually, it's pretty much like a right here behind, and there was already a chase and everything to go right through on the wall, so it wasn't difficult at all to do it. The electrical panel was located right over there in the basement, and so then just come down the wall, put some flex wire, new cord. There's the dryer, bam, everything worked out. There's where we chased through right there. So yeah, I mean, pretty easy stuff, and yeah, I mean, that's basically what I did. And then I guess there was one more here that we had. This was maybe one of the easiest ones of all. It was just the tenant in the house. The outlet's loose, and I didn't even really see a problem with it. Just pulling the outlet out. It was a little loose on the wall, tightened it back down. I kind of checked all the connections while I was in there. Everything was fine. And then I basically just so that I didn't end up having to go back out to the house or something for another call. I just went ahead and plug checked the whole house, made sure they were all working. But I did find one in the kitchen right here, and this top part of the duplex plug here did not have any power, but the bottom did. And I ended up pulling that out, and as you can see right here, this metal tab on the hot side of the outlet here was broke. So that was the reasoning of why only half of the plug, the duplex outlet there, works. So, and there you can see I got the new plug in there. So everything fixed up, and so basically that's what we have, folks, of everything that I did, about everything I did in those 4 days, and to make that $3,800 and $3,860. So pretty good money, guys. But like I said, this is going to depend on your skill level, how much dedicated you are to doing it, how efficient you are at doing these jobs. And, I've learned a lot of things over the years of doing this, so I've become more efficient and just get better and better and more skilled. You always want to work smarter and not harder, for sure. And you learn a lot of these things just trial and error. So, but yeah, so that's the potential of what you can make. Maybe this isn't much to some people, but I'm sure to a lot of people out there that are just working a 9-to-5 job, I can tell you for sure, as being a 9-to-5 electrician at one time and working for other people, I never made anywhere near that kind of money in a week. My pay was generally already set, and I was making around maybe $1,000 as a journeyman electrician. I was making around $1,000 a week. So, and that's, you're putting in 40 hours at least. A lot of times more, 60 hours, maybe make a couple $1,000s in a week. But, yeah, the area where I am is still good pay, but that's what you're generally going to make working for other people as an electrician. So, and I still have to pay taxes on some of this stuff, so that's not completely all profit, but it still is better money, for sure. So thanks for watching, everybody. Subscribe. I'm going to be making more videos on how to do things, and make sure to catch those. Thanks a lot.